Good evening, and welcome to the Heikadelic Show. We would like to take this moment to let you know that viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. So sit back, have yourself a nice cool drink or hot drink, and enjoy the show. And welcome once again to the Heikadelic Show.
And there we are.
Good evening.
It is.
Hey. So looks like Kathy's the first one on.
Hi, Kathy. She's quite loyal to your show, isn't she?
Oh yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. And close second, Melanie Boone.
Okay. Hi,
Hey
Melanie.
Mel. Hey Kathy. So Heiko, well, George is, I believe he's out of town for the day. Wasn't sure if he'd make it back, but he may or may not show up. But I'm
Oh.
going to take a crack at the backside today.
Are you? Well, you have lots of music knowledge over the years, so that'd be
A
fun.
little bit, but yeah.
And plus, not to throw everybody off, it's great, and thank you for the invite to kind of co-host kind of thing. So thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heiko's puppy had a little bit of an accident, so they had to bring him in to get him looked at tonight. To actually out in Whitby, there's emergency hospitals, but I guess it sounded like he had a little problem on the ice and it injured his back legs. So
their family, they have to be taken care of. They're number one. I've often said, Ringo, that, well, I'll just say it, that I love more dogs more than most people.
yeah, absolutely.
That's my take.
Yeah, and it's they're, I'm really hooked on when I'm on my iPhone. I've been putting off TikTok for years, and then all of a sudden I decided to try it out. Now I'm a little.
No, you didn't. No.
Oh yeah. So
what do you
what
think of that? I go ahead.
No, all of the animal TikToks will come up, and those are the ones that I'm really glued to.
Yes.
Funny as heck, some of them.
Well, those are great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's this one, it's called Puma, and it's a panther, a black panther.
All right.
And it's got this best friend relationship with a big old dog. So the dog will be walking down the trail. All of a sudden, this panther will come ripping out of the forest and tackle him.
A panther and a dog?
No, the panther will tackle the dog.
Yeah.
But the dog's just walking along, hum. But the panther, it's gentle as heck, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I say they're buddies.
Oh yeah, they're
my God,
best friends for life. Yeah, for sure.
It makes me think of that cartoon when we were kids. There, you remember Ralph's My Pal, the little dog.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So that's one of them, eh?
Yeah. So there's quite a few in there, but the animal ones I really there's these sugar gliders, right? They look like a little kind of like a mini raccoon, but they fly. So those are kind of cool to watch.
They're called.
But anyway, I could go on and on, but yeah, they're more fun to watch than people, right? Because TikTok's full of all kinds of borderline porn, as far as I'm concerned.
Some of it is, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
it's so my quick story on that is my buddy. He kind of, I almost want to say, got addicted to it.
To TikTok.
Well, yeah. So all of a sudden, because he's on, and he was, well, I'll keep it short here, but he was just amazed that any girls were even acknowledging anything that he was putting on there, and
wow,
all of it, a majority of it, from what I've seen, has become like a really bad entertainment center for dancing and stuff. The
Yeah.
funny ones are that, but I can't watch it long enough to really find it entertaining at all. That's me. And I know famous people are on there too, but I don't find it entertaining. I just went, "Bloop, nope, thank you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's definitely another media outlook. A media, not an
Outlet.
outlook, but yeah, like a vehicle, I suppose, because now, I mean, I can watch YouTube for hours, but
I agree.
you can dial in something of interest and just see episode after episode, but you can get full episodes of programs.
Yes,
So there's a lot of cool stuff.
absolutely. What I
Um,
also love about YouTube, because same as yourself as a musician. So if you only remember a couple of lyrics of a song, it'll find it for you almost quickly. So I
yep,
love it for that.
yep, kind of like
You know,
Shazam. Yeah, it's
absolutely. Yeah. Well,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah.
So there's also like we've got our Netflix and all of that stuff, but there's
Yes,
one called Tubi,
I know
which
of
is
that one. Yep.
TUBI. Yeah.
Yep. I've used it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's got a lot of indie stuff on it as well as now current movies and films and stuff. So
Yes.
it's pretty impressive.
That
But
and Pluto as well is another. There's so many with regard to it, Ringo. I mean,
a lot of streaming going on. Yeah.
well, that's how and I tell you what, I'm fortunate that a friend actually out of Rockpile, coincidental enough, that hooked me up with, and I'll just say, what the hell, it's free. It's NHL 66, so I'm able to watch some Leaf games because
Oh
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, that's cool too. And some of the apps out there, and I have an iPhone,
oh
but I've got the NHL, NFL app and stuff like that.
yeah,
And so I find it's pretty cool because I mean, if you follow any of that, it's cool to get kind of feature updates and things like that. And
totally
sometimes you
agree.
miss a game. I'm not one to watch every game, but
No, yeah, yeah, that. But I don't know, because I ought to kind of back up what I said last time I was on the show. That in regards to, I wish we could come back to that being brothers sisters, from like the 70s and such, but in late 60s, 70s, you know what I'm talking about. But
yep.
um, every time this goes on, and I've seen recent interviews with regards to famous and whatnot. But my point being is the Dalai Lama made a statement that sticks in my head every time this conversation comes up, and it's
Mhm.
so very true. And the statement, Ringo, was, "We become so disattached as a society."
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
aspect, I have a tough time dealing with that personally. I will say it's age. I don't know exactly how old you are, but the morals that we were brought up on have changed so much that it has changed. I mean, we become robotic. You're seeing kids, what are they, 3 and 4 or 5 with phones and such. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty deep conversation, but yeah, it's neat in one aspect and not so neat and cool in another. So, I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
I think ideally there would be a balance, right? Technology is not going away, obviously, but
No, that's
I agree with you 100% because I mean the detachment is well, it's kind of twofold. I mean, now the internet, it becomes a source for everything.
oh
So the need to go out of your four walls to explore is really not necessary.
yeah.
Um, but the other part of it is that you lose touch, I think, with nature and getting outdoors. I mean, kids don't go outdoors anymore. They just play video games or they'll sit in the same room with their cell phones.
Yes.
None of them really engaged in conversation. So I think socially it becomes an issue, but I'm a big advocate for, survivalists and preppers and stuff like that. And I do a lot of that myself, but imagine, and it's funny, my mother might actually be watching, but she would, I think I was about 10 years old, and my mom and dad would let me go across the lake with a buddy of mine, Ivan,
Yes.
and we'd go camp on the other side of the lake.
Yeah,
Now, if they had
I have that
binoculars,
experience too. Yeah, go ahead. I love it. I love hearing this. That's great. Yeah.
yeah, like if they had binoculars, they could actually see us off, just off the shore. But we'd camp out there for a couple of days and fish and cook our own fish. And
Mhm.
but 10 years old, right? I mean, in this, like in society today, if kids are lucky enough to be allowed out of the house, then what have they got to explore? And when it comes to nature and stuff like that, I mean, unless their parents are bringing them out camping and doing those types of things,
Some kind of
they
are.
never get to experience it, right?
We do see it. It's funny that you bring up that age. That's the age I was when I was because I wasn't quite tall enough, but 10 years old on the when after Dad passed away and we moved to Prince Edward Island, but on the tractor, um, uh,
Yeah,
uh, just steering it, and it's not fast or anything, but for a 10-year-old, it's a big deal.
it is a
Baling
big
hay
deal.
and straw
Yep.
and out onto the pastures and so on and so forth. Very similar to what you're kind of talking about.
Yep.
They were almost pretty much worried about where you were and so on and so forth. It almost sounds like we're in a senior home talking about the good old days.
The good old days.
But they were, no, come on, they very much so were. But outside of that, it could be
Oh
a
yeah.
whole show in itself, Ringo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you a
I
Boy Scout? Were you a Boy Scout?
I was a cadet.
Okay,
So I
all
never
right.
really got it. I went out to Boy Scouts, I think, for one evening, and it just really wasn't for me. I guess I was more of I've always had this close relationship with the military, and
You
it
mentioned that
started.
before. All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I was a warrior in a past life, but it. I got right into cadets, so I was actually in Navy, and then or Sea Cadets and Air Cadets. So I had actually been, I guess, sent. I was selected to go to my Power Wing camp for the summer, which would have given me a pilot license, right? Um,
Wow.
but I ended up leaving, and but I in both cadet corps I was in charge of the guard.
Okay.
So I also had a love for guns, and but and then in my later in life, CFB North Bay up in the Rock they call it,
All
the
right. You
underground
mentioned that. Yeah,
facility.
one other night. Right.
Yeah, I was a contractor with the military for about 11 years,
All
so
right.
I got to spend a lot of time up
Yeah,
at
but
that
not
facility.
going too far ahead though. I'm because I'm really digging what you're saying there. I'm kind of envious in that aspect because it obviously instilled some really good discipline in you.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not suggesting that you needed it, but you may have. But I think that's fabulous. I think that was my weakest point in kind of not that I wasn't a listener because I was a bit of a rebel too, but
Yeah.
that side of things, I was always envious of that. Not that I at one time thought about kind of army thing or whatever, but at that time I was getting more into rock and roll and I didn't want any of the friggin' haircuts. So
Yeah. Well,
anyway, I digress. Sorry.
no, I was definitely into rock and roll. I mean, and I mentioned this, I think this past show about Letterkenny came up again, which is,
Oh, okay.
you know, um, filmed up in the Sudbury area. And
Oh, is it? Okay.
in the first or second episode, they show this tavern. It's called the Star Tavern. And that was the first, that was actually my hometown. And it
Oh,
was the first bar that I had played in. And I was 15 years old, I believe.
okay.
So you'd
What
finish
a
your
memory.
set and then you have to go in the kitchen or outside, right?
So how old were you for your first gig then, since you said that?
15.
That was your totally first gig ever as in a band?
Um,
Pretending I'm kind of interviewing you now, kind of
yeah,
thing.
I would say that that was my first paid gig, and I'd done some kind of little performances here and there.
Yeah.
But
That's
not
cool.
nothing. That was pretty much my first serious gig.
First song. Do you remember it?
Yep, Hot Blooded from Foreigner.
Was it? Okay, cool. And you were playing guitar and singing at that time? No, that's
No, I
not
was actually just playing guitar. In fact, the
right.
singer that we had in that band for years would tell me I couldn't really sing.
You
And
mentioned that, yeah. Well, that's jealousy, maybe, but anyway. So those
but
chords were very close to what most guitar players learned on guitar, which is "Smoke on the Water." So I'm curious on the first song because we all seem to remember it.
yeah, yeah,
Great moment,
that's
though.
a tough
Like it
one.
really is.
I think that's a tough one because I actually picked up acoustic. My grandfather was a songwriter and singer and guitar player. Um,
Not
and
the first song learned. No, no, not the first song learned. I asked the first
mhm,
song played. So,
played
but since you is that where you're leading? I'm sorry. Your
at a
first
gig
song
or
learned?
played live. So
Okay.
my dad had a pickup truck,
All right.
and we lived down by a beach. So during the summertime, all of the people up going, heading down the road to go for a swim and there were a lot of girls in bikinis, and I was probably uh, maybe 12
Uh-oh.
years old.
Perfect
And
age.
I used the back of the truck as a stage, and I had my acoustic guitar, and I was playing Pink Floyd, and actually wrote my own songs back then,
All right.
which for 12-year-old going reflecting on some of those, they were pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
But yeah, that I would say that was the first time I ever did performances in public.
All right.
My mom was and still is a really good singer, but yeah,
My
the
mom
singing
my mom
part
did
came
for
later.
years as well, and then things just changed. But yeah, it's so it was in kind of in the blood,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah, for
especially
sure.
the singing aspect, so
Well, fun fact, do you remember those big old mid-century modern, stereos, the big cabinet ones with the speakers
absolutely.
underneath?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Well,
Had
so
one
we had one of those, and
with the stacker on it.
yeah. So the one we had was, you could probably put a body inside it if it was all hollowed out,
That's
but
us too, yeah.
the
They were cool. They had the
so
radio and then everything on them too, and maybe an
back
8-track
in
player.
yeah, exactly. It had all of the fixings, but my as a kid, we weren't really allowed to stay inside much. Our parents would
No, get
kick
the
us
hell
out.
out of the house.
So what I would do is my mom would get the vacuum cleaner going, and she'd be doing her housework,
Yeah.
and I would slide under the stereo, and she'd be listening to Tammy Wynette, and
My mom too. Oh, go ahead. Wow.
yeah.
Yes.
So I had an
Starting
affinity for
Pride and
yeah, and there was something about like just sitting right under or lying right under those speakers and just kind of listening.
it was
So I
all
got
about the bass.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of almost hide under there, or otherwise I get kicked out of the house,
Yes.
and it was interesting. So I was raised on a lot of different music. My dad loved uh, not your typical country and western. I mean, he was more of a bluegrass guy, right?
Yep.
And had a banjo and violin and all that stuff. So
He
on the
did. He
instrument side,
played.
really encouraged that, right?
Your,
So
your dad played?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wicked. Wicked. A
Yeah,
banjo.
he was he played actually the best instrument or what he was really good at was accordion.
Yes.
So I
It's
actually still have his accordion. I have his mom's accordion. So They were a pretty musical family.
Okay, yeah.
And it some of that rubbed off on me. I can play a little bit of banjo and this and that,
And
but
the
I
most
love bluegrass. I
I had
mean,
met the most famous guy, Walter Ostanak. I met him a few times.
oh
Speaking of
yeah,
accordion, very popular, and you know what? Challenging instrument. I don't know about if you found that, but yeah, it is a unique instrument. That's
well,
cool. That's really freaking cool about the banjo. Actually, right here in Midland, I gotta say, and I'll give him a plug because he still owns the music store in Midland through family. Steve
mhm.
Paskin is his name. Ontario for sure, if not Canadian champion banjo player for about 5 years, running back. It was a few
Wow.
years ago, but I always dug the banjo. Yeah, that's
Oh,
really cool about you. I can almost hear. I don't even know your dad, but when you hear a dad and being able to hear
yeah,
that, yeah, we lived
yeah,
beside Tommy Hunter when my dad before he passed away years ago. So it's been in the blood as well. Plus the Leclerc side,
right.
quite famous in Quebec, folk singer Felix Leclerc. So,
Yeah.
but go ahead. I love hearing more about the family deal and all that.
I
That's
was actually related to some Leclercs too, by the way. So
spelled the
being
same way, Ringo, or
what's that?
spelled the same way as my last name.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But
We could be
like
brothers from another mother. We don't even know, right?
we could be, who knows, right?
Well, in the
Um,
bloodline. So you have some Aboriginal bloodline in you, then I would think.
I guess so at some point. I don't know what I know like when band numbers became a thing, especially as far as using it for your taxes.
Right.
Um, there were a lot of a lot of people like going out to try and find their lineage and see if they could qualify for a band number, but
It
no,
was
we never.
fortunate and unfortunate. Yeah, I know the experience personally because I was the media relations director here locally. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
but living up in Sudbury, I mean, I've got a lot of Aboriginal friends and very close and all of that, and then of course there was the Manitoulin, and unfortunately at the time it was not a good time growing up because um, the social assistance checks would come in, and busloads of people would come up from the island, and Sudbury, to Stomp and Tom's song about Sudbury Saturday night. It
oh,
was,
that's pretty accurate.
yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you were from Inco, you definitely Sudbury Saturday Night was your song. But the other element to that was a lot of the native population on the island would come up,
Yes.
and because there really wasn't a lot going on the island in terms of entertainment, but
You
uh,
know what? That side of things, I was brought up similar to not understanding it, and it's another show in itself. But
absolutely, yeah,
yeah, for sure. It's too long of or whatever. But yeah, but getting on the lighter side of it, yeah, there's definitely some ties with a lot of us, and I was very thankful to find out stronger. Like if I had to pick when they I guess the word is assessed me because
mhm,
to get your actual card, I guess you could say it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, it's a stronger on your mother's side. It has to
yeah,
be than your father. You probably know that.
yeah.
Around here, mom is on Georgian Bay is a Robitaille. The strong
Robotai.
ties of that is almost like we are. So anyway, point being is I'm 80-20 on that.
Yeah,
Um, so I laughed because even with talking with mother, God love her, because as you guys know, I call
yeah,
her once a week. But anyway,
that's great.
she said, I didn't realize we had so much Indian in us. Anyway, I digress on that too.
No, that's cool. I mean, it's. I just found it was
It's a proud
unfortunate
thing to
back
be
then,
honest
but
with you, and everybody that has should. So
yeah, yeah.
it's not an
But
embarrassing thing anymore. So you were
no,
talking about
no,
the
definitely
backside
not.
and all
And
that. Did you want to get onto that so we don't get too much into an off subject? I mean, you're the host, and I'm only the. I don't know where you want to go with this.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Whatever.
I
I'm
do.
just a follower.
I definitely value the uh, where I grew up and my heritage, but more so that my dad, my parents were very. Um, I wouldn't say they were the most cultured because of world travel or anything like that. But as far as diversity in that, they were spot on. They were ahead of the curve.
Right.
And like I said, I grew up with a lot of Aboriginal friends,
Yes.
but the I can't say that the population at large was very pro diversity and stuff like that. So it was
No,
a very
that's
difficult time, I think, for a lot of people, right?
yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what and I, because I can say this,
Mhm.
I had really had an awakening, call it that, years ago in not being, and I'm going to use the word educated because,
Educated, sure. Why not?
well, why I say that, Ringo, is then I heard the phrase drunken Indian,
Mm,
and so when you're growing up, it's a new brain. You
yeah,
tend to maybe even look at it as that until later, and that's why I'm using the word educated. You realize that, are you kidding me? It really comes down to it was thankful that I have so much in me in that aspect. But the
yeah,
bottom line is if it wasn't for the Aboriginals, we wouldn't be here. So
yeah.
that was
Absolutely,
quite
absolutely,
an
100%.
awakening. The other
Yeah,
for me to end it on that was a moment that I had experienced racism myself. Now,
yeah.
I'm in Ottawa. I'll be short. I'm just at a beautiful, great food, fast food takeout. There's many, and of course, all over. Anyway,
Hmm.
so something in the conversation of just a general gentleman came up because I was then helping them start and open up the first ever Aboriginal FM radio station,
Okay.
and it was all about the statement. Well, those guys are good. They get a check every month, and I just kind of went, "Excuse me." I said, "Let me ask you something, sir." And well, they got a check because of their land. Who that? I won't get into those bad words. There's too many of
Yeah.
them. I said, "Sir, do you own your own home?" He goes, "Yeah." "What's that? What do you mean?" I said, "I would just like you to think about this for a moment." I said, "How would you like if I just come and took your house?
Right.
Think about it. Have a good day." So anyway, yeah,
Yeah,
but
and a
it's
lot of that is just it's not it's
so.
it's missing. Yeah, education is key, right?
Well,
So
that's
I'm
why I
gonna.
say, Ringo, it's unfortunate because, especially with the last couple of years with findings that have happened, it's another show in itself. I just have learned to really, and because more so that I am, and being around them and being in drum circle and so on, and being educated
Yeah,
on who the Aboriginals really are. Well, I said at the Georgian Bay Festival, I said it every effing year. When you see one, you go up and I said, you say thank you. And I
yeah,
said the other word, and you know this is miigwech. And if you want to know why I would say that, well, then go get educated.
yeah. Absolutely.
So
So
anyway,
Kathy's suggesting the backside. So I'm going to take my first attempt here
perfect. Yes, should
at
be fine.
picking up for George here, who is AWOL today.
Well, for now,
Um,
we'll hopefully he'll jump in maybe, depending on. It's nice to see he's out busy.
yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you the backside. See if I can get a little feature here. There we go. All right, so here's the backside. Can you see that?
I'll give you a sec. I wear these because of the bright light. That's another story in itself. So I have to put my other glasses on.
Yeah. Not much I can do about that light there,
Myself.
but
All right, my head. I'm going to look right at my other screen here. Well, there's a
and
bit of a
that's the
glare. That's
back
better, right there, Ringo.
right there.
Yep.
How's that?
And a little bit more forward, forward. Good. Perfect.
And there it is.
Wow. How come
So Kathy's asking if it's a band or solo. It's actually a band, but the band is a solo. Um, the band is actually named after the singer.
Oh, interesting. The band is actually named after the singer.
Yeah. So, like, if I was to start my own band, call it Johnny Ringo and Friends,
Sure.
something like that.
Oh, okay. So is it Johnny Winters and Friends?
Nope.
Oh, you don't have an
Hang
effect
on,
there.
let me get Ricky sound effect.
Oh, you have it.
Yeah,
All right.
sorry. It's the best I got.
You'll have to
Kathy
cover the comments because I can't see them. Oh, Bon Jovi. That's a good guess. There.
No. Sorry,
No.
Kath.
Wow.
And this album was around 1986.
Are they American?
Yes.
It's not Pat Trout. No, he's Canadian actually.
What I can tell you is, actually, can you guys make out what this image is?
It looks like a razor of sort, or that's what I saw.
No, it's actually a train wheel.
Oh,
a wheel off a train. So Kathy's saying,
you know those
Peter
three-headed
Frampton.
razors. I thought.
Yeah.
Peter Frampton.
Nope.
He's English. He's from England.
He's from England.
I'll do George right there. He's from England.
What? It's not mine.
No, so it's a solo album, but the band was named after the singer.
Yeah.
Gosh, you got even my mind stumped on and anytime I hear a kind of a sentence like that, it's always that people think that Leonard Skinner is the band, but it was actually named after their principal. But so it's not Leonard Skinner. I know the album cover is definitely not Skinner. Blackfoot.
So he was considered I guess a British rock band originally, but they were very, strong in North America, and they still tour today.
Okay. Oh,
he was born and raised in London.
Wow. Usually I'm better at this, so to speak, but album covers, geez.
Yeah.
I can see the vision still in my head of the.
So 1986. As a band, I believe they sold 250 million albums.
Oh gosh! So they definitely are a very popular band.
Yeah.
It's not. No, I was going to say Chicago. It's not Chicago. Gosh almighty, this sometimes though, because especially right now with what I'm dealing with, they call it the chemo brain. I'm usually very good at album covers.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes it's not as bad. Drink Powerade.
Yeah, I have actually, thanks to you, and
it's like the miracle for, like, even that foggy brain. Your electrolytes are so important.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know what? You can get the Pedialyte adult version, or just simple Pedialyte. Mix it at home yourself.
Okay. Oh, somebody else mentioned that. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So if you go to Shoppers, you can get Pedialyte, and whether it's children's or adult, I mean, you can double it up. It's not going to hurt you.
All right.
Also great for hangovers.
Well, I don't.
So Melanie's saying Aussie. No, not Aussie. So. Kind of getting in the right era. Anyway, what else can I tell you?
I don't know.
They were signed by Warner Brothers in America.
Huh. Huh. It goes to show that even folks that even for myself, all the years in the never mind the mind thing, but in the industry, that you can't remember them all.
Kathy's saying Van Halen. Nope.
No.
Nope. Good try though.
Gosh almighty. It's not a no, because no, I was going to say Robert Plant just because I saw just today.
I'm wearing a Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, but it's not Pink Floyd. Just want to rule that one out.
Oh, so is it Roger Waters?
No. Could be though. But no, it's not.
And some of those guys, but named after the.
Okay, I'll give you a hint.
All right.
The rise and the fall of a budding gigolo.
David Lee Roth.
No.
Just because a gigolo came in there. Go ahead.
I figured somebody would say that. Yeah.
Huh.
Everyone's typing that into their Google.
Yeah, somebody throw some guesses out there anyway, because I am just.
So, Junior, I don't know if you remember this, but it was quite a while ago. We had a flat earther guy on, and
did we get a comment because of my comment?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just kind of filling some air while people are
sure. All right.
Trying to decide. But the so this flat earther guy that came on, it was a great show. I mean, a best show we've ever had, honestly, in terms of numbers. We had over 1,000 people live on Facebook.
I actually watched it. Yes.
Yeah, I think we had 3,000 on YouTube. All live, right? And it was just amazing. Yeah, so those are the kind of guests you want to get. But today I was watching something this morning on, I think the guy was calling himself Mad Mike the Rocket Man. Right. And what he had done was built himself a rocket. And his goal was to take himself to just pop out of the Earth's atmosphere and take a picture of the Earth to prove it's flat. Okay. So he ended up building a prototype rocket that got him, it must have boosted him about 30,000 feet in the air anyway, and finally got it up and running, but needs like $2 million to actually get the rocket built to take him to space. But it was kind of an interesting documentary, and
it wasn't shot down.
No, he was concerned about that though, because there were a lot of
people
that just wanted to see him dead, which was kind of a sad flick. And he didn't have a pot to piss in, and a little bit of a interesting guy. But no, my point was, it's amazing. Like we all believe what we believe, and I'm not a flat Earth believer. In fact, that show we had on, they had we had somebody in the audience, and his job was actually to launch satellites. So, he basically said, "Man, if the Earth is flat, I've crashed a lot of satellites, or I did crash a lot of satellites." So, anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up because, I was watching that little documentary about Rocket Man.
Wow.
Trying to prove the Earth is flat. So Kathy says Bruce Springsteen. No, not the boss. And then Kathy saying is the band US. Eventually it became pretty US, I think, but started off in British. So
it's not a Rod Stewart album, or I've missed something.
What was that? Sorry, it was a
Rod Stewart. It's not a Rod Stewart album.
Oh, sorry, Melanie.
Melanie just said the same. Sorry, Melanie, I stepped on you there.
It is. Ding, 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 ding.
It is. Oh, for God's sakes. You can take that one, Melanie.
So, Who's Gonna Take Me Home, brackets, The Rise and the Fall of a Budding Gigolo.
Right. Have you ever seen him live, Ringo?
Rod Stewart?
Yes.
Um, you know what?
You would remember. No, you'd remember
No,
him.
I don't think I have. No, I've seen so many
Live,
bands,
look at,
and I've
and
been,
I, because of radio, of course, and
yeah,
other, of course, involvements. I've never met the man. I'm not saying that. I'm saying about all the shows. It's over 500 in my time.
yeah.
He's in the top 5 for the friggin' show he puts on.
Well, I always have to think about it because I've forgotten a lot of bands that I have seen. When I was younger, I used to get up in Sudbury at Sudbury Arena. I'd get tickets to all of the shows and backstage passes, and
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
yeah, I knew management pretty well over there. So we get a lot of bands touring through there, and then I've been to a lot of festivals, right? And
Yes.
festivals are great because you can see so many bands in a, whether it's a day or over a weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I have to think twice about it. Um, but yeah, I
Well,
don't
just
think.
because you brought up Rod, that's why I brought that up too.
Yeah, no, I don't really consider myself a huge Rod Stewart fan.
And that's fair.
I like I do. I have to say I do like the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
love some of those songs.
I
Um,
recall talking with Wayne Parker when I was working at Q107. I was living in Newmarket then. Really quick story on Parker. He lives in Aurora. Of course, I won't say where, but his home was built by his mother-in-law. It's a log home.
okay.
But I bring up Rod Stewart because I asked, and of course, he was on Glass Tiger's album and so on. So when they went to record in
Right.
California, he had shared that Rod Stewart is a cheap son of a so-and-so.
Yeah.
Most of his musicians get paid scale, but when it comes
Really?
down to, yeah, but unless of course you've written something or whatever, but when it comes down to if you want to use his mansion and drive his Ferraris, anything like that might help yourself. But as far as being in his band, you're paid scale. Now, as you know, professional musicians that get paid scale are paid very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just one kind of Rod Stewart story from Parker that I thought that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, there's a documentary. I believe it's on Netflix. I don't know. Kathy might remember the name of it, but it's I think it was called Hired Gun,
Right.
and it was this documentary about all of the musicians that did fill-ins, and
It's
like I think right
incredible.
now. Oh yeah, I think right now, for example, something current would be Bon Jovi and Phil X. Phil X is from Toronto, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And
I know of
he's
Phil. Yeah.
subbing for, I guess, Richie Sambora,
Yep.
or what was Richie Sambora,
Yep.
and it. So it's amazing that, in fact, I think Phil is on the documentary, talking about a few bands that he subbed in, and the guys who played with oh, what's his name, the piano man,
Billy Joel.
yeah, Billy. Apparently, he wasn't a very good like bandmate. I mean,
Wow.
he had a couple of guys out on tour with him, and then
Right.
not well. Sorry, he started with playing with a band, and I guess his drummer and bass player was it. He just one day somebody called them and said, we're going on tour without you, and left them behind, right? And it's sad because and you never know what the real situation is, but it sounded like he, you know, got road to success with these guys and then just tossed them to the curb. So
There's been
that was disappointing
so
to
many
hear
stories
because
like that, though, Ringo. That's again, that's why I haven't, I don't think I've caught that documentary,
yeah. Well,
but
check
yeah,
it out. It's pretty
so many
cool.
stories. I guess that's why like I'm saying there why they call them hired guns, and they're so
Well,
friggin'
I mean,
talented, you know.
yeah, they considered themselves hired guns because I guess they ended up playing with other groups and stuff. But it's kind of sad when you hear a story like that because I mean, like I think of my band Motor City Maniacs, and um, I don't know. I not sure what possesses us to do what we do sometimes, but um, we wrote. Phil and I pretty much did all of the writing, and when it came down to it, there's so much work in terms of recording and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
then promoting the band. I was always out there promoting and stuff like that, and it was it became difficult, right? Because when you submit this stuff for online play, and that you have to sort of divvy up all of the song rights and everything, and it was
Right.
pretty easy for me because I wrote 100% of the lyrics. But when it came to the arrangements, which couple of songs, yeah, I heavily arranged, or actually I think Misery, I wrote the entire song. Um, but when you start to think of our bass player Lou used to say, "Hey, we're the sum of the parts," um, and we didn't really think of it that way. We kind of thought, well, no, this is kind of based on contribution, right? But then going through COVID and having a lot of time to think about it, it's like, yeah, I kind of get it. I mean, when you get to a place with a band, sure, you can have what I call jobbers or hired guns. Um, and if they're there to boom, just learn the song, then that I understand why they wouldn't get a cut or included as a co-songwriting. Um,
Yeah, but
but
some of them have a standard fee that they ask as well, Ringo, as you know, right? Meaning
yeah,
the bass
absolutely, this
player,
is
drummer,
pay to win stuff.
this is what I need, and bang. Because I was
Yep.
just actually Maurice from the Blushing Brides as an example. He doesn't always have the same guys on a regular basis type thing. So, um, but yeah, I like. I haven't seen that friggin' thing. I got to see. What's it called? Hired
Uh,
gun.
I'm pretty sure it's hired gun. I
All
don't
right.
know, Kathy, if you're still out there, so she knows what it is.
All right.
Yeah, because I think she kind of got me onto it, and I looked, I checked it out. It was pretty cool. Um, but one of the things that, oh, there's Heiko. Hey, Hike, how's your how's your furry son doing there,
Yeah,
buddy?
let us know
Let
how the
us know.
dog's doing, for God's sakes.
Um, yeah, I think um, one of the, and it's funny, I guess, like sometimes I get, I'm like a dog on a bone with certain things, right? And it's like, yep, no, got enough experience around it. I know what I
Yeah.
know, and this, so I guess stubborn is the right word. But then
I,
I kind of like think, well, given some time to think about things, like jobbers, the word jobber when it came to musicians really bothered me, right? Because it's
okay.
um, like there are musicians who play in bands, and then there are musicians who play in about 5 or 6 bands all at once, right?
Right.
And I was never a big believer in that. To me, that was like dating a whole bunch of women at the same time. Because
I can see why you would think that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like I always found a band to be a really good band. It's almost like a marriage,
Well,
or
it is, and yeah, it's been the same forever for all of them, for
yeah,
sure. Even the guys I was saying, it was an old interview there with Led Zeppelin on David Letterman. The last three members of Led Zeppelin talking about it. That it's just a kind of a marriage that didn't go away, other than we lost one of our mates.
yeah,
And you spend more time, which is the point of why they talk about it being a marriage,
yeah,
with your band, depending on, don't get me wrong, and you know this as well as I do, like we've talked before, on how much and what are you after in being in this band, whether it be you are trying to be somebody, something, or are you just playing to play and enjoy music? So
yeah.
that'll depend on, of course, the time. If you're now spending more time because you just want to get drunk with your buddies at the practice area than your wife, well, then I suggest you're going to divorce court soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I used to get like, I think if we were auditioning and stuff like that in other bands, not MCM, but if
Right,
somebody was playing in, said, hey, I'm playing in a couple of other bands as well, I
right.
would be immediately turned off by that idea, because it's like, um, and I don't know if it's being selfish or what, but I felt like, okay, if you're gonna quarter yourself across two or three other bands or four bands, I'm not really
Yeah, but
interested.
I think that's fair, though. I think that's fair. You have the
Yeah,
cards on the table. This is what we expect of you. It's sort of like that line, "Know your effing role," right?
right,
So
right.
if that isn't the role chosen by the band that's forming, well, then next.
Like as a cover band, I'm not really fixated on that at all. Like cover band, I don't care if you play in two or three, just don't miss rehearsal and don't miss a gig, right?
Right,
But an original band is different. Like I put my heart into to songwriting,
right.
um, and I feel that the lyrics are very not only coherent, they tell a story and they're um,
Oh, it's number one. I totally
yeah,
agree.
it's like poetry, right? In my
Very
mind,
much.
anyway. But yeah, I don't expect anything less. It's like, okay, if I wanted a hired gun, I do that.
Yes.
However, what I did learn was, especially with MCM, that scheduling became a problem. So
Yeah.
much so that I actually went on a hiatus and worked with an agent on doing some tour support and stuff like that because my band turned down I think it was about 30 to 40 shows that we could have been on
Because of scheduling conflicts with
because of
band members.
scheduling conflicts and this and that. And
And that's
so,
tough alone because you all have your own lives.
yeah, so other than Phil and I said, look, why don't we ask the guys to go find their doppelganger sub? And and then the value of jobbers all of a sudden clicked in. It's like, okay, there are guys that will go out and play for the sheer enjoyment of performing and get paid some bucks because nobody's really in this business to make a living anymore. Uh, but
For
but
sure.
yeah, like I know with Lou, like there were a couple of bass players that he respected that he said, hey, yeah, I go and you know, and he had a lot of scheduling issues with his kids hockey, rep hockey, and all of that. So, but I thought about it and I thought, well, that'd give us the vehicle to sort of go out and keep the band relevant, right? Um,
That's a good
so
word. Yeah.
yeah, so you just, I don't know. Like I said, I kind of think of it
Well, that's why I'm
differently.
saying, Ringo, we have to use that word in the commitment. How much of the commitment into the said band are you going to put into it and why, so that you kind of know. And
Yeah,
in deciding that, of course, is the priority list,
yeah,
regardless to a degree type deal, but yet still tough. And if it wasn't that way, then we wouldn't be even having this conversation with all the bands that have given up so much. We hear how look, it's from here to kingdom come about the stories of you're away from home than more so than you are at home stories. So commitment is the word.
yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
Heiko, it doesn't look like he's got in to see the doctor yet. So Heike, hopefully
Oh, geez.
your dog's, resting comfortably and
Yes.
at the moment, and let us know what happens for sure.
We're definitely thinking of you and the pup for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Yep.
So, but you didn't, if you weren't listening in earlier, Heiko, when you are now, I made the statement that I care more about dogs than people. It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
you don't count, but outside of that. So yeah, it's always been that way, but you're back to the musician thing. I did kind of laugh about, in regards to what you're saying. So it was back to the Zeppelin interview. The question was in the lines of when John Bonham died, why did they choose not to move on? Great answer from both Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. And that
Hmm.
was the fact that not just any drummer could get that same feel groove of the sound of Led Zeppelin. So that's why they chose not to just replace with another drummer.
Right. Right.
Made sense in their vehicle anyway. So,
Yeah.
and yet some feel let's move on, and they have been able to, and so on. The AC/DC is a perfect example of it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and hopefully the world needs another AC/DC and Van Halen. So,
Oh, there's
being
Sean. Hi, Sean.
sarcastic, they really do. I mean, AC/DC was, just pioneers, and it's just that beat.
Yes.
We're addicted to it, so we definitely need another one. So there's Sean from
Yeah.
Social Strife.
Know him very well.
Um,
Hi, Sean.
yeah, so Sean's been posting a lot of he posts stuff every day, and obviously he's got an awesome following, and his band's playing a lot of uh, key dates this summer,
Yes.
and in the
Jules with him,
spring, I guess.
and the boys and I can say this because it was called that, a fuck COVID festival back a couple of years
Yeah,
with John being the main guy and whatnot. And of course, no surprise. I of course met him at the Rock Pile and all that. I've said this before at one time, and I can say it on this show. Hopefully your mom's not listening. Don't ever fucking change who you are, Sean.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love.
I read and respond to most of his posts daily.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Sean. What I like about Sean is uh, he's got his messages and puts them out there, and doesn't really give a fuck what people. You can either respond, but it's meant to be in somewhat tongue in cheek, but he's definitely, I think, a quality guy. And
Well, I've
but
always been that's why like I said, him and I, we get along like brothers, it's,
yeah,
how can you not respect cards on the table? People don't like that.
no,
They do not like truth type thing, and I personally do. So anyway, we'll have to have maybe I'll get shot on my new show coming up, and maybe even on here sometime as well. So.
yeah. Been meaning to get Sean back on here. We've had him on a couple of times,
Oh, you
and
have? I missed it.
we challenged him one time not to use the F-bomb, but to come up with something as an alternative. And the show was quite good, actually.
Yeah.
I should repost that
I always
sometime.
said that I'd like to have Tommy Lee and Sean together to see the battle of the Fs. My good friend who's responsible, he's retired now, retired dentist, he said, and he's right, and I think it actually is. Maybe you can look it up or sometime, but fuck is in the dictionary. So live with it, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that actually, while Sean's on, maybe he can give his spin on it. But when we were talking about like these sort of trends and maybe thinking about things differently, I had my little rant about how bands will say you've got to pay as you or pay to play, and when I look at a band like say Sean's, right?
Right.
They work their asses off. They do a ton of self promoting. They try and stay very relevant, and that's what I would expect of any, whether you're original band or a cover band, but more so from the original bands out there. That's what Ringo would expect of a band, is to work hard and build your fan base and all of that. And Sean does it in very interesting ways with Social Strife.
And
And
we're not blowing smoke up your ass either, Sean.
no. There's a lot of no, but there's a lot of bands that expect that they come out of the basement, they've written some songs.
Right.
Maybe they're good songs, maybe they're shitty songs. Who knows? But they expect that just because they land a gig somewhere, that the bar is responsible for promoting, right?
Oh, it doesn't
And
work that way anymore.
and it's not that way. Like I know
No.
Rockpile. I mean, they have a minimum that if you're going to play out there, you're expected to sell a certain amount of tickets. And I 150% agree with that.
You have to
Because
change with it because it has changed. That's just the way it is. I mean,
well,
how would you like it if it was like, and you've been down to California,
yeah.
okay? So the clubs down there, they throw your shit off the stage when you're done, and sometimes very real. You pay to get on the stage.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So it's
I mean,
potatoes. So be thankful that it's working out there. So you have to, and that's the thing you brought up earlier, by the way. and why. And again, we're not blowing smoke up Sean's ass by any means, but you are wearing all those hats now, aren't you, Ringo? I mean, you are not only the music, and that's one aspect, and you are the promoter. You're the, you have to get yourself out there, and so on and
Yeah.
so on. You're the video producer, and the list is quite long on the amount of hats you have
Well,
to wear.
it definitely is, but my band's taken this long extended COVID break, and so that is getting will come to a head, I guess, at some point, and I'll have to make a decision. But we want to get back out there, right? It's just now there's distance involved with rehearsals and a
Well,
bunch
there's
of
that
things.
aspect too. Yeah.
But the fact is that when we were actually playing, we could go out and do a show and uh, be virtually guaranteed within a couple of days to sell 100 tickets to 200 tickets. I mean, when I went back to my hometown up in Sudbury, we had to book 2 shows consecutively because we sold out both nights within like 2 weeks. I think we had sold out both shows. So um, it was uh, it was always a pleasure to be like a direct support and know that at the end of the day, without your band there, they'd have sold not a hell of a lot, right? And I'm
Right.
not going to name the bands that we went out with that was the case, but that was from a lot of hard work, right? And a lot of promoting and getting out
Yeah,
there.
but
I
like
mean,
we're saying though, I think it's even harder now, Ringo. So it's almost a heads up because things have changed right now.
yeah,
Maybe even more than even I'm in contact. Like I said, to the boys down at Halifax there at Barstools and Band Talk and whatnot. But um, I think this is why we're seeing two things that I noticed, especially locally. I'm not that far from Casino Rama. It is not the superstars that are playing there. So that would
right,
mean that some of these venues and the affordability of them, it's not there because
right,
they're on a recovery. So are they getting the checks and playing them? Well, it's only because they can do these other bigger venues to be able to get something close to it.
yeah,
Um, I won't again to say any names. There's no point in trying to center somebody out. But
yeah,
in talking with and knowing the promoters, and I say promoters,
yeah,
that it's very real right now. It
yeah,
is. A casino can afford it, right?
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, so when I go out and do these tours with like tour support, right?
right.
And I went out, done a few bands, and um, I went out and did Svengali and Anvil a
Anvil at
couple
one
of
time too,
times.
was
Yeah, but so a couple of times though, like the bands that were set up for direct or first opener, they would do nothing to sell their tickets, right? So uh, I was a bit of a hard ass with it, and I'd say, look, I know you guys are a great band, but to play on stage with a known act, you know, a national or international band,
right.
I'll pull you off stage right now unless you cough up your money, right? And and I actually said it that way. I mean, it's like, don't come to me after being told to sell like 25 tickets or whatever
Right.
that you can't sell them, right? You
I
haven't
wonder
earned
how
your
much
right.
budget is actually, it makes me think of is put into the promotion rather of, meaning that radio, newspaper, whatever the case may be. So yeah, it makes me think that for sure.
Yeah.
And be able to back up that so that I don't know. Again, because I don't. I want so much to say a certain name
Yeah.
bands or whatever, but I don't want to pick on anybody.
No, that's fine.
I
Hey,
guess I'm
Heiko,
saying that it's just challenging now from this level to this level. I think that's why you're seeing these kind of super tours that are going
yeah.
on.
So I see Heiko's trying to get on. So Sean, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're on the same page, and you guys do a great job. So keep doing what you're doing.
And
And
I'll see you soon,
I know
John.
you have some shows coming up at the Atria. I think you've got Terry's band, Tears of a Deity, uh, Code from Toad, and then I think you have a music hall date coming up this summer as well. in stage 44. The new and that's coming along really well. I was touring the place with Ed recently, the owner, and it's they've got some of the major stuff knocked off, so that's going to be really exciting to see that open. So let's see if we can get Heiko on here. Hey, Heiko.
Hey, boys. How's
Hey,
it going?
Hey,
looking
Heiko.
good.
Hey, Sean. It's good to,
5
good to
hours,
see you're
right?
on tonight. Yeah, I've been listening for a while, just sitting in the car waiting.
Okay.
So that'd be cool. Promote Sean's stuff. So when he comes into town, we should go down and see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Especially at stage. I mean, the Atria, we were down there recently to see, I think I talked about it, the Motley Crue tribute
Right.
band.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So the Atria, everybody cuts their teeth. You were talking about LA, and I've been to the Rainbow, and on a small scale.
Yes.
The Atria kind of reminds me of that, although that wasn't the place that bands were cutting their teeth. It was more so a hangout after they played at, the Sunsets, like played the Sunset Strip and stuff like that. But that whole pay to play thing, I think somebody was telling me, like, even Rihanna at the Super Bowl, that those artists don't get paid now to play that. I don't know if that's accurate, but
she doesn't get paid. She doesn't get paid to play the Super Bowl.
I think it's.
I doubt that.
No, I
don't. I don't know. There's so many people vying for it that it, maybe it's a career booster. I don't know. I was surprised to hear that myself, but who knows, right?
Yeah. No, there's been too many famous on there. And it's too much pie to involve. So yeah.
No, but when you think about it, though, like, look at, it's not unlike the ads on the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
The companies that place the ads have to pay to get on and it started out years ago at $1 million just for your.
Oh, it's way beyond that now.
It's got to be like 5 or 10 million, right?
For 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
But I can see how some of those Super Bowl halftime acts would be. I could see it becoming almost a volunteer spot, because I mean, well, not the whole world is watching, but
somebody's getting paid. It's that kind of a world.
But I have to say, I've never been a Rihanna fan, and I thought this Super Bowl absolutely sucked. I heard, she's pregnant, she's going a bazillion feet up in the air, and I'm like, that was just stupid, because I mean, what if that induced
it's nothing new anymore either. It's been done by how many?
And you know what? I didn't get it. I didn't get any of it. I didn't get all of the people running around in the white furry costumes. I'm not sure what that was supposed to be. What are they, polar bears or snowflakes loose?
Well, it's funny, because I've seen the Super Bowl shows before too, and it's not necessarily you're watching an artist or a band that you like, but if the performance is good, you can still enjoy it, right? And to tell you the truth, like Ringo said, I agree with him totally. It was complete garbage. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It's not Super Bowl worthy, put it that way.
Well, Sean is saying, I heard you have to pay for your spot on the Super Bowl. Okay. Just like you got to pay for your spot on Ozfest. And I definitely know that, like, from,
wow.
There was Ozfest, and what's the other one I was kind of heavily involved with? Oh my God, it was a famous festival. It'll come to me, but you have to pay to get on those. The only one I found was we auditioned for was Heavy Montreal. If you got selected to be one of the warm-up acts, you were part of a selection process. But
I've heard more shit show things about anything going on in Montreal than good. So whatever.
Heavy Montreal had some great acts. I mean, But yeah,
Well,
I don't
not
know
that they
anything on that.
haven't. But
So Kathy's saying they don't get paid. It's about self-promotion, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's a
Sean
good
is
point
saying,
too,
look at
Sean.
how
Yeah.
many more Instagram followers and downloads she's sold since the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't know if that's a lot or not. She's to me, she's very irrelevant. She played with Fergie one time at Budweiser, and so I was down there checking out that show. She was late getting there, and her band couldn't get across the border. Not even sure if she had a band, but so
Really?
she did her own version of karaoke at Budweiser, which
Oh, good.
I thought sucked. And then, of course, I've only known her as a lip syncer, anyways, because she never really, like, you could tell plainly at Super Bowl. She was
That has
not.
been going on a little bit more than we realize, eh, guys? About
Oh
live
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and syncing. Like, what the hell?
yeah. So the host at
Huh.
Super Bowl, or the host town for Super Bowl, gets to pick who will perform.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
I think Kathy mentioned it.
okay. Bad
Prince-
choice.
Yeah, absolutely horrible choice. Horrible choice.
Well,
and,
I'm sorry because I'm a fan, but I only watch Super Bowl. Where was the Super Bowl played again? What city?
It was in Arizona.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So it was
You
Kansas
guys know
City
better
and,
than that. A
and
lovely
Louisville,
city
right?
like that. Oh, they must have too much sand in their brains or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it the demographics and we are just too damn old and what's going on and who's watching what? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know a damn song that she does.
No. Well, again, it's not our type of music that maybe we like to listen to, but
Oh.
still, again, you can watch somebody perform and it be a good act, even if it's not one of your choices, right? But
I need somebody to help me understand though what the fuck were all these people wearing these white furry costumes about, right? Like, is that a sex thing? Is it, like,
That's become that
the furry
itself
sex
it's
thing?
called something about something that people are into this new, is it a fad about wearing a stuffed animal costume? It's called something. So that itself
it's
is
yeah,
it
yeah.
has.
furry kinky sex, I think.
I
but-
know it's not even from what I see, not even a sexual thing. That it's so you can go out and be, how do I even say this?
Somebody.
A
Yeah.
panda bear. You can be a dumb, stupid deer, but you're in these like Walt
Oh,
Disney
I see.
outfits.
Yeah.
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 I don't
Hey,
know.
you know
I
what?
guess if it becomes a sexual thing, they can decide later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean
Sean
saying,
says we're
"Come on,
too
you
hard
guys."
on her.
Yeah. She has a song with just vocals and piano that has 3 producers and 2 songwriters. Now that's commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that, and that's sarcasm right there.
Yeah, but Sean, did you also hear she changed either her set list or something like 25 fucking different times or something? So
Well,
I mean,
you know what?
Oh, come on. Really?
yeah, it was something crazy. Yeah.
I think Rihanna's a good R&B singer. Like I you know that.
I mean,
dig
probably.
that part of it.
Maybe we shouldn't pick on her. I mean, that's not fair. But I've heard something. But she's
Oh
not
no, it's
unique
fair.
to me.
It's fair. Like, I think Sean's point about having 2 songwriters and 3 producers, that means she's fucking high maintenance, right? So, and she's been like that since she hit the
Okay.
stage, right? It's like, no, I wonder how she would do on the what's it called, the Masked Singer.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
hey,
You know,
that's
when she
interesting.
came
That's
on, she had her
interesting.
looks
Good
and
one.
all of that,
Yes.
but she wasn't that great of a singer, honestly, at the beginning. But
Uh-huh.
she had that little quiver in her voice or whatever. But
And since we're talking about female singers, and I'll say this because I've said it for years, even when I worked radio at commercial radio, Madonna, we don't fucking care.
so
At the
Kathy's
price of the
saying
tickets that you
incredible.
want and what you look like today, nobody cares, but she's going to sell out anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's a good point, right?
What a dick on some of the interviews I've seen on Letterman of her. Like, who does she, I'm sorry, I'll go off on an hour on this woman. I don't care for
Ooh.
where she's gone from. Well, when you've done the sexual things that she's done, when I won't say with a cross in your time, to go from that to becoming a children's book writer, are you kidding me?
Wait a minute. Who are we talking about?
Madonna.
Madonna.
Oh my God.
Come on. And then what did I hear? Did you guys know, or maybe somebody can post a price for a ticket to see that? No, thanks. No. There, I'll use your word. There's a retread I'd like to fucking run over. Sorry, I said that.
Better be careful. Sean's going to tell you to lighten up on Madonna too.
So,
No, he won't.
Sean, if you're still there, bud, if you can tell me what those furry white costumes on those people, did I see those people? I didn't mean those people. But
Yeah.
on the dancers, like what did that mean? What sort of relevance? Because I'm really perplexed with that whole thing. The amount of energy put into that, it was just not cool.
Like you said, snowflakes. That makes perfect sense.
I don't know. I don't understand it.
Could be a theatrical thing, I guess.
I have a lot to say about the Super Bowl, but I just get thrown under the bus, so I'm gonna reserve my comments on that.
Oh, that's funny.
But yet they had what's his name, guys? Help me. That did the national anthem. One of the best anthems I've heard in years.
Yeah.
Really?
What was it? The guitar player there does Christopher. Somebody help me. Who did the national anthem? I'm going blank here.
Oh, on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Blood Rock Sausage. There you go.
No.
Yeah, it was the guitar. Blood Rock Sausage.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
Ringo, I have yet to smoke enough marijuana to figure out what the hell was going on with the Super Bowl.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd like to know, though. I mean, I'm wondering if it was an innuendo about stuff, but it's just, the whole thing was troubling, and the fact that you would, be that high off the ground while you're pregnant. She was fully pregnant, not half pregnant. So, I mean, why would you put your body under that kind of stress? And of course, you're lip syncing, right? So,
yeah.
So, Kathy said it was Chris Stapleton. Was
right. Tennessee Whiskey singer. Right. Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah. Tennessee Whiskey. That's a great song.
Well, that and
you know what?
The video, when you've seen the anthem, I mean, it was truly just the players were crying.
Yeah.
That's how emotional that friggin' song was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. Very cool.
I was taking a leak during that part.
Okay.
But
there's video out there. Oh, I have it on my wall there, by the way, because it was that great. But anyway, he stole the show. He stole the friggin' show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Actually, we there were a few of us hanging out. I was over at I don't know if you know Dave Wells at all, Junior. He's a musician, very well known here in Durham. So he's got a couple of bands that he plays with. But
know the name. Sure.
So we were over there, and it was a great time. Freshly cooked chili and
it's the best
snacks and lots of beer. We Ubered over, so it was all perfect. A good night. And I managed to find a Kansas City jersey, an official jersey, that actually went. Now I can sell that jersey. Could have sold it for $350 that night, and paid $100 for it, and now it's $550. So
That's
mine's
crazy.
like circa 95 in the there was some, like Joe Montana days.
Yes.
Yeah, when he played for Kansas, so brought him to the Super Bowl. So
yeah.
I just found out my autographed Gretzky sweater there is worth $200. So
there you go.
Nice. Well, you get so much
at that price. Why sell it, right? Like, I mean, if you're at all interested in memorabilia, then great. But hey, if you're not, get rid of it. buy a guitar.
Over the years, though, there's been so, as I said, so much of it. I was going to say if George got on here, maybe you guys, I don't know how much swag you have over the years. What to do with it all has become. Since we met, actually, I've been working on my room. I don't even know where to go.
So Kathy,
As we talk about records, look what I found the other day.
nice.
Oh, that's cool.
I've actually got one on a keychain.
Oh yeah, okay. This is the authentic.
And if you hold that up, I bet you there's people that have no idea what that is.
Oh sure, there wouldn't be.
Well, I've got the authentic one, but it got put on a keychain a few years back, and I'm reluctant.
I've seen a few of them that are kind of
things,
cool.
but so
those things you sharpen the edges and you throw them.
Right.
That's what they are. Yeah.
Kathy is trying to correct me here and saying Joe played for the 49ers. Well,
she's right.
If you do a little bit more research, Kathy, you'll find that he left the 49ers.
Yes.
And he went to play for Kansas City and brought them to a Super Bowl. And then the 49ers begged for him to come back, and he finished his last year out with the 49ers. But they were it was all about Joe Montana and the 49ers head coaches couldn't stand him because the team was so attached to Joe that the new coaches came in and it was all about Joe. So unless they got Joe to nod in the dressing room, the team would, in one ear and out the other. So
where does a mindset? I guess we'll never find out. Go to
it was definitely ego, right? And Joe being getting on in years and stuff like that was just still like that guy had a serious gun on him. And
but ego was one thing, egotistical was another. He sounds more egotistical.
Well, then the owners for the 49ers did not want to see him go. Wow. And he said, look, guys that you hired, to coach, can't stand me. And so I'm just going to bow out. And he went to Kansas, and then he proved, just kind of like Brady, when Brady left the Patriots, right? Right. And all of a sudden next year he's in the Super Bowl, brings a new team to the Super Bowl and wins. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that was the note he should have left on, but you know what? Good on him for doing whatever he decided to do. But but Montana did pretty much the same thing. And
how sick were those salaries these guys get too? Holy shit.
Oh yeah, but
paid extremely
well, actually now that the Patriots, well, not the Patriots, but Brady was with Buccaneers, right? So now he's retired, and I think they still owe him another $30 million.
Jeez.
So we'll start into the new year.
I didn't go to a small claim court.
Right. And it's like, okay, well, how are we going to backfill this $30 million with a player, and they don't have the player for it, right? So I'd be tipping them another 10, 15 million just to come back and bring that team to the Super Bowl again, right?
It makes me think this. I'm going to pause you for half a sec there, Ringo. I seen it on the video feed. There's this kind of a slot machine thing that they have in Vegas. I seen this thing slides back and forth slowly. You may have seen it like this.
Yeah.
Back and forth to knock these chips down with quarters that go down the back.
Yeah.
You may have seen it.
Yep. Yeah.
The one I seen, the buy-in was $6 million for 25 quarters.
No.
$6 million. He
That's
played
insane.
I watched it. I couldn't think about anything right away. Who the hell has this kind of money? He was talking y'all, so maybe it's oil. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, well, sorry to interrupt you, but I just, it made me think of that. So anyway, so he buys into this $6 million. I'll say it again. He finishes the game. He comes out of it. They have if dice fall down into your winning drawer, you get to roll it, and whatever you roll, you get 2 times, 3 times, or whatever the amount that you have won.
Okay. Yeah.
He comes out with $34 million.
Gee, that's crazy.
This is the stupid machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, sorry, because like I said, on and off, because it made me think of the monies that we're talking here. And I seen that I went, $6 million to buy in to get
Uh-huh.
yourself 25 quarters.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
the hell?
Well, you know, I
It's
mean
it's
that's
like gambling. Some people will pay big
Oh,
bucks for that.
yeah,
And
it's
I've
like
seen those machines where they actually build towers of chips,
that's what it is.
and
That's what it is.
and then
Yeah.
there's cash and all
Yes.
kinds of stuff, and you
Gold
try and get this
things
whole
and
tower to fall
yep.
in, right? It's wild.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it is. Anyway, like I said, who the hell's got $6 million to bet on a stupid
Well, it's
machine?
kind of like playing Texas Hold'em, and you have a buy-in that pretty much sets the stakes, right? Like you
Yep.
buy in for $100 or you buy in for $100,000. So, and everybody else buying in is, they're pretty much there to potentially lose the same amount of money. So,
But a machine, $6 million.
yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
just stupid, crazy.
But look what the prize was, right?
Well,
He took a
you don't.
chance and gambled, and
I don't
right?
know. This guy's he's got a whole bunch of them on there. But anyway, because you brought up money, it's just that in today's world with struggle that goes on, where the hell do people get this kind of monies and whatnot is beyond my
Yeah.
wildest
More money
dreams.
than brains. So,
Jesus, I don't know.
Well, it's funny. You guys were talking. Yeah, you guys were talking about your jerseys and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
What they might be worth in the future.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just watched that. What's that? The pawn show where they
Yes,
pawn stuff
yes,
off.
yeah.
And the guy walked in and he had this orange rhinestone covered suit with cactuses and everything on it, right?
Oof.
And he said this was one of the original suits from the
Williams.
80s that belonged to one of the ZZ Top guitarists.
Okay, yes, Billy
Oh.
Gibbons.
So the guy from the pawn shop says, well, I'm going to call somebody in to see if they can verify the authenticity and all that stuff of this, right? So who does he call? He calls the ZZ Top guitarist in,
Yes.
and he comes walking. And he goes, "Holy crap! I think that's mine!" Right?
Yeah.
He got $80,000 for the suit.
Wow. Yeah, some of them on there. That show is incredible. They say that it's set up and whatever, but anyway, whatever the case may be. But I kind of dig that show because they've had a few on there. The guys from he had the guys from Def Leppard show up and another episode, and oh shit, this guy that played on all the famous. I can't remember his name, but all the famous musicians that we know of in history, from Elvis to you name it and whatnot. And
right.
Before I forget, since we're talking rock and roll, we were talking last time. Look at I found.
Yeah. No way. Wow.
Since we were talking about Rick, Rick Sanders and seeing him down your way back years ago. That's one of the posters from back then.
That is cool, bud. Very cool.
This industry is funny too, Heiko, because of association. So years later, I ended up working actually down the road in Collingwood, Wasaga Beach, at a radio station there. And the bass player actually works at the station as well. From the band Sanders. So sometimes it's, for me in my travels, it's been incredible about the people that I would run into and the association and whatnot.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was just, as I was saying, I was doing my room there. I happened to come across that, and he said, "Oh, next time I'm on the show there, and I know ahead of time I'll have to show Heiko this poster."
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, I have
I like that kind of stuff.
I have an original Alanis. If that doesn't maybe make you think for a second, Alanis, and I stress that because Alanis Morissette did disco before Alanis Morissette became famous.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
She's known as Alanis.
Oh, wow.
So, and the other that came to mind before we get too late here, Ringo, by the way, since we were talking about kind of tribute bands and what's going on, this is a poster from 1980 from the Blushing Brides.
Blushing Brides, yeah.
So I've known Maurice, the lead singer, forever. Their plan was not to ever go out and be listen to these words, a Rolling Stones tribute band.
Yeah.
Nice.
and never has been. They are
Wow.
known to go out and be a rock and roll band that
Yeah.
plays Rolling Stones music. It was never a plan to be a Rolling Stones tribute, and they're the longest. They're 44 years in being who they are. That's why they chose the Blushing Brides, the name,
Yep.
by the way, and not
Yep.
anything to do with any of the above. But yet, but they play the music of the Rolling Stones. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, I saw the Blushing Brides up in Sudbury, maybe
Well, they've
30.
played everywhere, Maurice. Like I said, 44 years.
Yeah.
Could be 45 now for God's
I
sake.
think I saw them maybe 35 years ago or something, but they
He
were
does
up
Mick
there.
Jagger better than Mick Jagger, Maurice.
They were up there with. They were either up there with. They were either up there with. I'm thinking Toronto,
Right.
or I seem to remember like Dio or somebody. Like they were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were like the opening band for a pretty big band.
Yeah, but your city
Toronto
back
at the
then
time-
was one of the main stopovers, because I know when I in my turn and when talking to all the guys in the stopovers, it was your city was one of them. On the northern tour, I guess they call
Yeah,
it.
if you were gonna head north,
Yeah.
you would do Toronto,
North
Sudbury, Timmins,
Right.
Thunderbird,
Yeah.
all
Because
the way
everybody
up.
fucking hated Timmins.
I actually didn't mind it.
Fun.
Shania Twain actually served me a beer at
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yep. And she actually jammed with my buddy's band was playing there. I think it was called Master Stevens or something back then.
Okay.
But they were kind of a cover and some originals. But yeah, so she went up and sang, and
That's cool.
That's what Karen was doing when I first met her. Lee Aaron, when she was doing Heart tribute when she was 13.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's come a long way. We laughed when I seen her last there because her daughter is the same age that when she started coming out with music back then. Yeah, I met her in Bramalea when I was hanging. Actually, we brought up Zahn the other day. I hung with Jim Samson. He's from Brampton.
Yeah.
And ended up going out to Bramalea and to see a band, and I had no idea who they were. I still don't remember the name, but this young girl, it was like one of those moments, you just go, what? Where's this little girl? Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
I had no idea. And then years later, because Harem Scarum were hanging around that area as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, the years later that she would become the metal queen. I mean, holy shit. So we laughed about this in the green room at Rockpile and so on.
Do you remember a promoter named Donald K. Donald?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Biggest jack off in rock and roll, but one of the best going.
Yeah. I mean, they were good, but I had met, well, Donald, gosh, I was probably in my teens when I first met him, but anyway, where was I going here? Blushing Brides had toured up north a couple of times. So I saw them at, I think, the Colson one time, and then at the arena, Sudbury Arena. So, but yeah, that goes back a ways.
You guys talk about a club that down your way. I don't think I've ever even asked. I don't need your home address, but what's the main club down most of your guys' way? You're down in Durham, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for decent sized concerts, the music hall was actually the place to go.
Right. Okay.
And now during COVID, they had to shut down the venue, so they've been working on building out a new venue on Bond Street, 44 Bond. So it's going to have, that used to be the old dungeon, which has been all refitted now, and it's called 44 Bond. And then the upper level is the larger music venue, which is I think it's a like 1,100, 1,200 cap on it. So it's pretty decent. Headstones were going to actually do their opener you know,
Is that like a husband-wife team that's got that going?
yeah, that's Ed and Maggie. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, good. I know whoever you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. We were actually hanging out for Super Bowl together. Like,
I don't know them, but I know
we're really good
of course,
friends.
I
And
remember them.
Kathy's in that, you know, in that circle as well. She's
Okay. Well,
she's
when they're
got
ready, anytime they need a host, I'm just about ready to get back at. My goal is the end of May, by the way, boys. So
yeah.
Right on.
Maybe we'll see if we can get you out hosting something out there. That would,
yeah.
but
Well, I just want to get out and party with you guys somewhere, shake down the road.
oh yeah, no, I mean, you know, once the hall's back in full swing, it'll. I'm sure, you know, there's tons of acts that they've deferred, and they've deferred it over to the, you know, the old hall location. It got bought out, but it anyway. Yeah, there's some big bands that really wanted to be the opener, and the latest one was Hugh Dillon, you know, throwing a lot of support over there and stuff. And
Nice.
yeah, so I
Hey,
mean,
before we get off though, because it's on my mind, Heiko, any update on the dog or what's going on?
yeah,
No, he's right behind me in the car still. We're
Okay.
still waiting.
Gee, man.
When we called down, it said 5-hour wait.
Oh,
Yep. And she said that starts when you get here. She couldn't start it when we called, so we had an hour's drive too. So yeah,
so he's doing, or she or he?
he, yeah,
Is he doing kind of do okay until you get in there?
he's. You know what? He seems totally normal.
Okay.
He barks like an idiot when other dogs come by. He wants to play like he's himself, but his back end is like partially paralyzed. Like it's like half of him is like wasted drunk, like his legs aren't working properly. Yeah, so it's and his back is arched, so I don't know what's going on. But he wiped out on the ice.
Right.
So he took a bad spill. I don't know. We hope it's something that's maybe swollen and pinching something or whatever, and it'll.
Well, I just wanted to say that thoughts or prayers are with your puppy there before we go off air.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thanks,
well,
we appreciate it.
I care more about your dog than you.
Yeah. You know what? My wife and I are the same kind of people.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, if you recall, I had a very famous dog at one time, so I haven't been able to replace her since, and we're talking 2003, and so that's why this is very sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. Well, he's laying down there. I don't think you can see him. No, it's too dark.
Well, I can see him a little bit.
That's okay.
But
yeah.
Okay, I think we're gonna wrap her up. So, Junior, always awesome having you on. So,
yeah, Junior, thank you so much.
No worries.
It's always a pleasure having you on.
Well, it gives me something to kind of keep myself busy until I get my other stuff off the ground and whatnot.
Oh, yeah,
so
for sure.
And those that listen to in on the Heiko show. So thank you so much. It gives me a little bit of light and strength to get back at this again. So as I said, treatments until the end of May. So I'm shooting till the end of May, boys.
That's pretty good, buddy. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and we like to think, actually, Kathy was first one on, and then Melanie was a close second, Melanie Boone. So thanks, ladies, for hopping on. And then let's see here. Oh, Heiko, yeah, he popped in.
Yeah, Heiko popped in.
Danny, of course, from Stop Burgers in
Country Stop Burgers. Danny popped in. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
I want to get down and get one of those burgers soon, Dan, when I get down and see these guys. So I'll make it a point to get over there.
Yeah, we'll take a tour out there. We'll take you with us. That'd be awesome.
Thanks to the guys in Social Strife.
Yes.
So next week, I guess George will be back, and we had actually Melanie won the backside tonight. And Junior was kind of right there as well. So Rod Stewart was the leader. So,
nice.
Yeah, it was a good time. Always good chatting with you, Hike. Thanks for hopping in.
Yeah, boys. It's good seeing you. We'll be in touch for sure.
Be better. Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys have an awesome week.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week on the Heikadelic Show.
Yeah. Next week, Monday night at 9:30, right here
Monday.
on the Heikadelic Show. Take care, boys.
Well, that's another wrap for the Heikadelic Show, folks, so time to get dirty. And don't forget, listen in next week on Monday night and every Monday after that for the Heikadelic Show at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like more information on the Heikadelic Show, please find us at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. We'll see you all next week on the Heikadelic Show. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the Heikadelic Show, it's easy. Just send us an email at info@theheikedelicshow.com. Meanwhile, you can browse our website at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. Click on our sponsor tab and find out more information on sponsorships. Thanks for joining the Heikadelic Show, fans.